what it's referring to.
Oh!
That's a Neil original right there.
Oh,
Also
dear.
known as a bad joke.
Wow, I should kick you from this call.
Do it. So you all amassed the bridge. The ship's computer is basically telling on all of your monitors that there is a stealth ship approaching. Prov, you do actually get the communications seat right now because no one else is in it. I know.
Oh, man, talk about jumping into someone else's grave.
Well, it's one of those things where the seat is free if you wanted to do it. I actually imagine Prov wouldn't. He might just go to the bridge and not really
He wouldn't take a seat. No.
have a seat yet.
I was gonna say, I don't know if he'd do that because he, one, actually cried and reacted, and two, he heard him referred to as a comms officer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, it would make more sense if you just sort of like stand in the doorway while the alert starts. What is the plan?
First thing I say when everybody's aboard the ship and we kind of like see all the alerts going on and so
They're all
forth,
aboard
I
the
say,
ship.
Up in the bridge, I mean.
I know.
And the
just
like we all
tickling
seeing all the
balls.
details that we have before us. I mean, it just makes him retract. So he says, we're all probably thinking the same thing here. They didn't finish the job, so they're coming down to do so. And if that is their intention, they're going to find themselves with quite the fight before them.
Wait, what? No one said that anyone was hunting for you.
But with hopes that that isn't what's happening, that our success was enough to stave them off, at least for now, I think we should open channels.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna finish anything off, it would probably be the Flaring Rose, not us. I figure. While we're away, that would be a good thing for them to try.
Anna cuts you off slightly and be like, pirates, terrorists, it's personal for them. We ruin their day. They want to ruin ours.
Yeah, true that.
I give Anna an appreciative smile because she always seems to in the right spot, and I
She
say,
just knows the criminal element.
let's give them an opportunity to state their reason.
I imagine you used open comms because.
Yep. Well, it's one of those things where,
one of the better things.
Again, my eyes look to that seat, and then I will. And
When
right
you
before
do-
I press actually go, I'm gonna say to Rain, I'm like, Rain, everything good over there?
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Just get a good lock on them. Just
It's
in
one of the things
case.
you can't get a lock on them because they're
Yeah.
stealth, but you can,
can aim in their
aim the
general
guns.
direction.
You can and like they get out their hard points, they aim.
Listen. Ian, you're firing on them is like firing on any.
Everything may as well be stealth.
Come on. Good.
I have a minigun for a reason, so I can spray bullets in their general direction.
We had the option of like we can change that minigun to like a hyper powerful laser beam, but it only has one shot and then has to reload. Yeah, no, we'll stick with it.
Yeah. Can we get 4 more little gun? No. So I say, so as soon as I open links, what did you say, Ollie?
No, it takes a little bit of time for like the ship handshake to take place because obviously a stealth ship nothing happens automatically, but they do accept your hail.
Do they speak first or do I?
They actually they do, and you recognize the voice. And it says, "This is Salish Serrano of Picop. We're here to talk, Captain Davis Nielsen."
Salvage Serrano?
He's the guy who basically put you
Hired
on
us.
the ship.
Oh, yeah, forced us into this task. That's
Yeah.
right, down here.
Oh,
Okay.
shit, no, don't think about it like that.
So I mute it. I say, understood 1 moment. And I like will mute for a second. And once again, the comms chair is fucking empty. But I will look over to Anna and say, who's not doing much, probably piloting at the moment, say,
I'm not doing much, just actively, firing while there's a tail on them,
just going straight, that's all.
It's not
So-
like you need to react fast if someone fires upon you.
So I say, Anna, does that message seem like it's relayed or does that seem direct?
She will go ahead and make a program check.
Anna with a program check. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, she has decent int. Well, she has
Her
an
dint's,
int.
yeah, her int's good.
Yeah, not
She
that
kind of like opens up a couple of things to like interact with the scanners and is like, it appears to be coming from their ship. Like just no confidence, no knowledge in these kind of things.
I'm sure everybody has the same sort of, she gave it a college try kind of groan. And
She's the pilot.
yeah.
Yep.
There's nobody else to do this kind of job now. I mean,
No,
Tomas
yeah,
kind
exactly.
of, but you're in engineering, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Programming, not
Yeah.
fixing, not
So-
programming.
So I will I unmute and say, can you put yourself on the display?
One moment, and they do. It's the guy, as you saw him before, military uniform. The inside of their ship looks very advanced, not lunar advanced tech for this sort of thing. I mean, it's a stealth vessel. It must be newly off the presses, and it looks like, considering it looks into the hall with the inside of their bridge, there's only 2 other people in their bridge. Assumedly a pilot. Assumedly a pilot and a gunner. I mean, you can just figure out kind of based on their screens and things.
Okay. So I say, good morning. You're a bit ways away from your comfort. You are a bit of a ways away from your comfortable skies. To what do I owe this pleasure?
I am, and that's why I'm in this ship. We need to talk about Excalibur. Would you be open to slowing down, docking, having polite conversations, or will this all be over comms?
Yeah, Tomas says to Davis, I think they've captured him. I think that's an Excalibur ship who has taken him prisoner.
He says that. I say, one moment, I'm sorry. We're still handling details. I mute him and say back to Tomas, what's your reasoning?
Ollie, is there like an insight roll I could do to
That
like
is
into his
notice
voice?
charisma. Yeah.
Notice charisma, yeah, because it just seemed like it,
Mm-hmm.
Notice, charisma not int. Yeah,
You're pretty convinced in what you think.
yeah. I mean,
Kind of hard to read a guy like that, and you don't have the best view of the screen either.
right. I'm going off of his voice. It just sounds like he's being held captive. I don't know. I mean, they just attacked us after I don't know. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical about this whole thing.
I unmute the thing even while he's still finishing up, just because I'm not going to keep this guy waiting too long. I
Yep.
say, I'm sorry about that. Is it necessary for us to be docking right now? It's a little dangerous to be doing out here. If we were caught unawares, this would be we'd be easy targets. Perhaps we can meet back at the station.
A-okay, but just let us send you a data packet beforehand, information that you need to know.
I imagine that's true. And once again, I do the whole mute. I imagine mute also. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Is mute literally just mute, but they can still see video, or is mute mute? But
If
also
you
has like a couple
have your
second
video on,
delay?
they can still see the video unless you choose not to. But like it'll come up as much.
So then we're going to devise something in the future because it'd be cool. But for now, so I mute because you don't want to have everybody hear your commands. So I mute and look down and say, he's sending us that data package. Let's make sure that it is contained within an anti-malware program. Let's not open that package at all.
Mm-hmm.
Unmute and say, we're ready to receive the package, sir.
Who is going to do the program check that involves?
I
Go ahead,
think
Will.
Tomas has to, right?
Yeah,
Like it makes the most
you
sense.
do. you do.
No one else would.
Program in.
I actually have intelligence, and I'm probably going to have to learn program.
I have plenty of int.
You
I don't have program.
as the data package is sent over, the ship has many like inset, data systems and things. You virus scan it. You try to make like sort of a virtual system, but it's beyond you. You know these things exist, but you virus scan it you virus scan it as much as you can. It's actually not a big. You do notice it's not a big amount of data at all. it actually seems to be essentially a link to a dark web site.
Oh, great. It's a
Oh,
porn
that's
site.
really not suspicious.
It's a porn site.
Is there cheese pizza?
Hey now.
I'm getting hungry. I was thinking about ordering from the local place.
Tomas, like, waits a second, and I turn to Davis and say, I don't think this could be a virus. I mean, I still won't open it, but I'm not reading any type of virus.
Not a problem. So mute for a second. I say, not a problem. Thank you, Tomas. Unmute and say, we'll meet you back at the station then.
Very well. And like the line will just be cut, and you will see the stealth ship just go past you very quickly. If you if you would try and like look at your cameras outside, it is a bigger ship than yours, newer. It does literally go past you.
I was thinking like we would try to not tail them, but tail them back to the station.
Yeah, in case they
But
go
are
somewhere
like
else.
Yeah, but are they like so much faster than us? We can't.
They're like if you ask that to Anna, it's like they're faster, but they're not going full burn.
Let's tail them back.
Yeah.
Let's follow their flight path, but keep a healthy distance.
And she'll
Ollie.
start doing that, and it's not that hard for her.
Ollie, I would like to oracle. Are we in danger if we meet that dude?
And you look a day in advance.
Yeah, I look up to a day in advance.
How can I word this?
Well, if he's struggling, that means he's like, how do I not say yes?
But are we in more danger if we don't, considering their
Excuse me, you're not the Oracle here. You die.
highly advanced?
You don't see
Shit.
blood in your future. You do see money changing hands.
Okay. So as we're flying back, I say to Davis, I haven't seen anything in my dreams that makes me think this might get bloody. I've seen money actually.
So they're gonna
Yeah.
poison us and pay someone to poison us. No blood.
I mean, I know.
I don't say that.
Yeah, no. I know that they not particularly helpful. It's not like these things are. It's not like I know exactly what's going to happen. If I, yeah. Let's not go there. But I don't think there's straight danger just from meeting them. You know.
Anna will actually speak up and be like, "No danger, but pays to be prepared just in case."
Oh yeah, definitely. Ain't gonna take the risk, but just thought you'd want to know.
I think it's important that we know what is in this package before we go and meet with them, because that's going to give us some sort of insight. But I think it's foolish for us to open it in open skies. And if we're sitting docked and we open this and it makes something look like it's our fault, so contacting the incompetent, local authorities first, then that could have negative consequences.
I mean, money changing hands, it could be just about anything. It could be them paying someone else to off us.
I mean, they sent us a data package, right?
Mm-hmm. That was essentially a link to a website.
Well, could I not turn off the connectivity on my data pad to the ship and simply open it on the data pad? If it breaks the data pad, then it breaks the data pad.
Quality enough of malware would be able to reactivate the different various settings. You'd have to be able to deal with the data pad that doesn't have the means to upload. And if it's simply just a link, then that link would require you to access the whatever net exists in this
Internet.
universe. Internet.
It's internet, it's just system only.
Outer net. Ah!
So
Did that screw with you, William?
Sorry.
Was he last to the call? Cool.
So is there like something in the data pad that allows it to connect to other things? If there is, what if you take that out and then open it?
Well, Anna just
You
sort of,
wouldn't be able to open it.
you wouldn't be able to open it. It's the internet.
Oh,
Now, if you could copy that link, maybe go to a terminal somewhere else. But either way, it has to be linked to the internet to open the link.
Yeah.
it does, doesn't it?
It's unfortunate.
But I mean, you guys are right. You might be able to build a closed network of some kind to at least lessen damage if it was going to unleash some sort of horrible technovirus.
I mean, probably not. Not as me, obviously. I would point out that these are the guys that provided our latest security updates. They know how to turn off our security. I mean, if they wanted right now, they could do it without us to download it. Because we don't have a skilled enough hacker to prevent them from just going,
Yep. But
"Here's
luckily,
the code."
We didn't before either.
oh
Oh.
wow. So what are you gonna do? Are you so right
Sorry,
now you are
honey.
just flying back to the station?
Yeah,
to-
we're flying back to the station, trying to decide whether or not we want to open this package. But I think we're going to wait till we get to the station before
Okay.
we do so. Just because if it does some sort of virus that
Mhm,
affects the ship, let's be safe.
Yeah, exactly. So you getting back to the station, no problem at all. You dock exactly where you were before, right next to the Flowering Rose. You don't know where the other ship is docked. But
We don't want to
Davis,
share information with the Flowering Rose. What I will do is actually reach out to the local local authorities,
Mhm.
kind of like ping for them, so they answer. Be like, this is Captain Davis Nielsen of the Magpie. I have a bit of a warning. Not a bit of a warning. How would I phrase this as?
I don't know what you're trying to say, so I don't know.
Like more or less warning them that we're going to be. Should I even do that? No, I think our reputation is good enough that we don't have to worry about that. I'm going to skip it entirely. My
Yeah,
apologies.
don't do that.
Yeah, our reputation is strong enough. I actually will even say that. I'm like, well, once we're finally docked, everything's in place. I'm like, I think if anything goes awry from opening the package here, our reputation at this point is strong enough to be able to get us out of whatever trouble we get ourselves into. So, I guess now is as good a time as any. Do we have any objections to this?
No, Captain.
All right. Let's see if we can open it on a data pad, reduce the damage, reduce the chances.
And then
So-
Thomas opens it to a data
Yeah,
pad.
Tomas starts opening it on.
Opens it with one hand, hammer in the other.
it
Yeah.
takes a little while to open it. Ultimately, you know, the internet is slow on anything but a colonized planet, and this is a colonized planet. But you're not trying to use the internet. You're trying to use what is essentially like, you know, the dark web. You know, it's definitely not on the normal grid, so it takes a bit of time. And it takes you a bit of time to work out what this website is. But when you do realize, you see a number of faces. You see Davis's face, you see Rain's face, you see Thomas's face, you see Jason's face, grayed out, and Anna's face. And they're all, you know, fairly recent records of everyone's face are kept for face recognition. They would be whenever those have been updated recently. And it appears to be a bounty board. And it looks like a bounty has been put out on your heads and the crew, the Magpie and its crew, for 250,000 credits.
Ooh, this is nice. He quickly turns to the group and says, well, we're at least worth a lot. Then he turns and shows the data pad to the captain.
If I was this more snarky character, I'd have lines there. But I look at it and I go, did you say Jason's face is also there?
Yeah,
Crossed
grayed out.
But grayed out? Okay. So I'll linger on that one for a second as I'm like swiping through them or whatever. I'll linger on that one for an extra second. And then I'll
And they would have all your names as well.
I'll look up at the new crew member and look back down at there and realize that he's not on it.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, well then, seems as though we've all been marked. There's a few ways to handle this situation. All of them are something that's rather difficult to do. But We do have a task set before us, and running with our tail between our legs is not an option that we have.
Well, actually, I wasn't aware that you were wanted individuals when I was offered this job.
Neither were we.
And that's fair enough. So, I'm not gonna, blame you guys, but maybe if when we land, I could just go my separate way. I'm kind of trying to keep a low profile and getting my mugshot on one of these websites. Well, that's the opposite of a low profile.
Yeah, Anna, what is it that you said that what's this guy's name again?
Prov.
Prav. What was it that you said Prav had said to you as you were making your way onto the ship? He's trying to avoid being noticed, right?
Yeah.
What is it you're running from, Prav?
I'd rather not discuss it at present. No disrespect, Captain, but I don't really know any of you, and right now I'm not sure I can trust anyone.
Likewise. So, if you want us to throw him with you, you're going to be throwing him with us. Understood?
I'm not sure that it's such a good deal for me.
Well, I turn the thing back and say, name's not on the list yet. Want to be seen walking off the ship?
What was that second bit, sorry?
Want to be seen walking off the ship?
No.
Anna will speak up and say, and the fact that you're not wanted means you might be able to get us out of this mess. And maybe make a bunch of money.
She says, hopefully. So I say, what's his name? What's your name? William. I say, Tomas, what's the likelihood that we can reset all the signatures on the vessel? What's the likelihood that we can completely change the signatures, the name, everything, so that we cannot be traced?
I will tell you that it is possible to change your signatures and stuff, but I mean it's very hard to do. You can, similar to the Expanse, like it's designed to fry when you change those kind of things. The problem is that most of the sort of inner machinery and hull actually have the signatures and numbers of the ships printed into it. So you would have a ship of Theseus situation if you were trying to do that idea.
I mean, that's not such a big issue unless somebody's inside of your ship.
Well, exactly, but if someone was inside of your ship and looking for it, they would very easily find out that it's not the ship you want it to be, and that's just very illegal. Just so you know.
Yep.
Thomas.
So I asked Tomas that question.
Yeah, Tomas says it's possible. I mean, we can't be completely hidden, but it is possible.
That would turn a night long enough for us to at least accomplish this task and worry about things from there. Another option, of course, for us is to abandon ship. He says, and like gauges the crew when he says that. You
could just see a look on Tomas's face where he's like, no. Like, he doesn't say anything, but you just see a look like... And then he waits a couple of seconds or so and goes, I'll start working on changing those things the best I can. He turns to...
And Anna will just stop and be like, don't do it while we're here on the station. If we're sitting here and our signatures change, we'll be... Even though the security force likes us, they'll still arrest us for breaking the law.
Fair.
How did Rain react when I made that comment, that question?
She didn't seem to have much of a reaction. She just sort of like...
Let me do a caricature. That was it. No change.
Rain sort of like nodded to herself, like sort of thoughtfully. It's like you get the sense that she's not attached to the magpie itself, but it's more like she doesn't really know what other option they have than to stay on the magpie.
So he says, "Very well." Opens up hailing to the to that captain.
Mhm.
Secure channel, of course, so it's not
Yeah,
overheard
of
by
course.
locals. And open up hailing and be like, Captain Davis Nielsen of the Magpie.
My place or yours, Captain? I would prefer mine.
I imagine so. I will have a. I'll be bringing company.
Please bring your whole crew. Preferably.
I'll actually mute again for a second, so it might seem as a pause because it's no video this time. And I'll say, Tomas, do you need time to set up, or can you just do this all later?
No, I'll do this later. I'll definitely do this later, like Anna said. Don't want to do it in the station.
Okay, so I release and say, we'll be heading over very shortly.
And he sends you the location where he's docked. It's a big station. It's, a bit of walk away, but not like actually like trouble. And we'll cut off the communication. His ship is called the Emblem.
Emblem? The emblem of my
PIP
arse.
Emblem.
So when we do leave the ship, I will suggest that, what's your name? Prov. That Prov actually leaves first, like several minutes ahead of us, and kind of like goes amongst the whatever, and then we'll all leave together after that.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't look to be one of us, even though we are all meeting up and going to the other place together.
Yeah, Prof will go and make his way towards the emblem.
Yeah, sure. It'd be one of those things where, as you approach the ship, nothing happens. Because, of course, you're approaching a doorway, an airlock doorway. You can see the ships outside through the window. Like, there'd be sweet windows where you can see the ship outside. And actually, it's a very beautiful ship when you guys approach. I mean, it's a black, shiny stealth ship. It kind of looks somewhere between a sort of birdish and manta ray-like shape. I mean, it would look, if it was smaller, it'd look like a kind of very high-quality gunship or bomber, And of course, it's a much larger ship than that, You could say it's one tier above your ship in size. You wait for a bit to let Prov go up there, and then imagine the rest of you come up as a group. When the lot of you appear, the airlock will open, and actually someone standing there who is not the guy you talked to before. He is a pretty attractive pale guy, wearing sort of body armor and in green with long blonde hair, and he just kind of looks over the lot of you and smiles a bit and says, "You didn't have a +1. Who's that?" He's still standing in the airlock, his hand on the panel.
Honestly, at this point in time, because I'm still not back to being myself, I have not read his profile yet or know much about him. So,
noticeably, Anna never gave you anything either.
Beyond the quick little chat that we had or whatever.
Yeah, the chat is all you had. You definitely don't have paperwork on this guy.
It is a pain in the ass. I'll step to the side and allow him to introduce himself.
Name's Prof. Nice to meet you, Mr.
Henrik.
Mr.
He'll actually offer a hand.
Yeah, he'll shake it.
Ugh, jerks.
Come on in. Mi casa e your casa.
I'm sorry, what?
Ancient languages are kind of my thing. Get all the chicks.
It's Latinese. Latinese. That's what it is.
And he will guide you into the ship. The ship's even got that whole aesthetic inside where it's a military ship. It's not that personal. Actually, near this airlock, you can actually see an armory It's like a proper military stocked armory in the ship, but there's no one on it. This ship is very empty. When you go up to the meeting room before the bridge, there are just 2 other people, not including Henrique. There is Salish, who you already spoke to, and a red-haired young woman who's wearing a similar sort of jumpsuit / armored thing to Henrique, who is like chewing gum and scrolling through the internet on a data pad. You probably exactly, streaming Reddit onto her device so that she has it all cached. You know how it is. Silas will stand up in the military uniform and everything, looking of course a little more military than the rest of them, and nod to Davis and say, I would like to extend pleasantries to all of you, but time might be of essence. I trust that you did open the package that we sent you.
Who is it that placed the order?
Well, that's something we're trying to work out, but I'm going to honestly guess, and it'll be extremely accurate, that it was Excalibur. Probably Excalibur himself.
I honestly wasn't aware of the fact that Excalibur was an individual, but despite that, why is it that they're capable of doing this? This seems to be more than just lowlives and thieves. This seems to be an official bounty.
You got to remember that. I mean, it's not an official bounty, but it's like you got to remember that a lot of people believe in Excalibur. That's why they follow him, and all it takes is someone with a deep pocket, and they have enough money to get someone else to do their dirty work. And we keep track of these kind of channels because Ballista is in our system. And we don't want any sort of piratey bounty hunter work coming too close. This is one of the reasons why this ship exists, and he like stamps his mag boot on the ground to take care of pirates and bounty hunters and pirate threats that are much larger than others. Honestly, this ship was funded to hunt Excalibur, but we haven't been able to smoke him out of whatever hole he's hiding in.
I'm sure it could have been useful a few days ago.
It would have.
It would have.
Which is part of the reason I invite you here today. You are talented individuals, and he looks over a lot of you and does look at Prov like, who is this guy?
I was drunk. He had a nice ass in them jeans. I was just like,
I had a dream.
I move quick.
I don't intend to have you continue defending the Flowering Rose. The military, that our navy cannot go after Excalibur in such large degrees because people believe in it. If Excalibur is to be taken down, it should be taken down by a group of freedom fighters and heroes that are currently beloved through both Pike and Novus lands alike.
Oh, jeez. That's alright. That's without us.
I immediately start thinking of my room. I like my room.
This offer stands. There's not one you have to take. To take command of the emblem and its crew, and looks to these two. And take the fight to them.
What of the Magpie? What's to become of the Magpie?
That's up to you, though if you were to be smart about it, you would send it off an automated route with jury-rigging it to go somehow, and blow it up.
That is not an option.
It's not an option I like to say either, but I offer the most practical plans, as I was trained to.
And then we might have to make some impractical decisions. This is quite the offer that you're making here, and while I do speak for the crew, when it comes to the various missions that we're on, task to task, I cannot speak to where it is that they choose to rest their bags. We'll need a few moments to speak amongst ourselves.
No, please. Make this decision seriously, because it cannot be one that can be taken back, at least easily.
Is there a conference room or something of the like here?
He'll just sort of like, you're in it, but he'll just sort of click his fingers, and the two crew members notice, though the girl takes a little bit of time, and he'll walk out and they'll follow.
So, because it's the bridge, it's less likely that this is something we're going to be spied in on.
It's the conference room, but it's like right before the bridge, similar to how your bridge is near the captain's quarters.
Usually these would have safeguards against that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So even if somebody's
designed to not be bugged.
Yeah. Well, or more importantly, if somebody hacks the ship, they can't hack into what's going on in this room. So.
It's a stealth ship. It's designed to be that sort of thing. Yeah.
So I look to the rest. Of them, and you can actually see there's a bit of a pained look on my face. Slight, it wouldn't have been picked up by the new guy, but the others who know me would see the slight pained look on my face. And I don't say anything. I look to them, and you can clearly tell I'm trying to gauge their reactions, what their opinions are.
Holy Earth! You have just been offered this ship. You guys. Well, I didn't realize that I was getting involved with heroes by Earth. They wouldn't believe my stories.
I listen to him. It's one of those things where I want to be amused by his simpleness, but at the same time, it's almost like he's devaluing something that's so important because of our recent experiences that I just kind of give him a stone look.
Rain smiles slightly at him, then looks back at Davis and says, "Family's the people we are with, not the place you live at."
I don't think everybody feels that way.
Well, that's how I see it. I mean, the Magpie, lovely little ship, good memories, but if it's gonna get us killed, I say it's better for us to jump ship, as it were.
Jumping ship's not something that many people have done before, though I know some do have experience, though it gets harder each time. Anna?
Anna just sort of shrugs, says, "I'm with you, Cap."
I nod, and then I imagine pretty much everybody's attention goes over to
Tomas.
Tomas just looks around the room. If you think this is the best option, I can respect that. But that's a decision you'll have to make as a captain. I can appreciate this option, but I'm going to need to go back to the Magpie and work on making it invisible, so to speak. And he will see himself out.
just immediately walks out.
Yeah.
Does he want to listen to the rest of the conversation?
No, yeah, he goes. Yeah, he
Makes
goes
sense.
to go. Yeah.
I'll actually watch after him a bit. He just put so much fucking work into that room. You know what I mean? Actually, which is like important. That was like waking up, the realization, all that stuff was what just gave him back his presence of mind, right? So he watches after him. When he leaves the room, the door shuts. I'll turn back and I'll say, let's be plain. There is no way in hell Tomas will ever leave the Magpie. It will not happen. That's been his baby since he's been on that ship longer than anybody else. He would rather die. He would rather bleed out on that ship than see it not being able to fly. But if we are going to continue with this task at hand, that thing is a death trap for us. This is not just a serious upgrade because it's fun and new. And he says almost like dagger-like towards the new guy. But because it's capable, it has the skills. It has the utilities we need to accomplish the task at hand. If we were to accept this ship and to go forward this way, it's very likely we're going to be saying goodbye to another one of our It's very likely Tomas will not be coming with us.
He's a strong guy. He'll be able to get by on his own. He'll punch any bounty hunter's lights out.
Not worried about his ability to survive. He's brilliant. I'm sure he'll actually succeed at the task he's trying to do, and I'm sure we'll be able to meet with him again in the future, but just are we willing to lose our mechanic? Do we even have a mechanic?
Prof doesn't say anything. He's not jumping into anyone's shoes. He's already like teetering dangerously close to like stepping on a dead member's territory.
Anna will just sort of say, the ship comes with some crew. If they piloted this here from Pike, I mean, that was a jump. Not a hard jump, but I mean, it made by on for 3 crew, and we're getting 2 of them. Ultimately, I reckon they'd be able to cover whatever jobs you need them to if you command them, right?
But Anna, he did seem kind of like a dick, didn't he? You gonna be able to share quarters with him?
What can I say, Captain? For someone who's not a breeder, I certainly like dicks. And she actually kind of gives you like just kind of like a look ever since the stuff came out the other day.
Yeah. So he chuckles actually a little bit, very little, but he looks to what's her name, Rain, and he does he often treats Rain with kid gloves because he sees Rain as being volatile, not an explosive, but just volatile. And so he looks to Rain and says, you and Tomas have a pretty strong relationship. You guys get along well enough. Are you willing to say goodbye? Is this what we're all willing to say?
I've taken different paths from friends before, from people I've spent much longer than I have with Thomas. It's not easy. You want to see him again. You hope they're okay, but you get by. I've been drifting most of what I can remember. Wouldn't be any different. Meeting new folk is everyday thing for me.
This is a really shitty decision to make, considering how we spent our morning.
This sort of decision never ain't shitty. Your own safety or staying together, it's never an easy decision. But your safety, maybe someday you'll get to see him again. You stay together, maybe everything ends. It's better to take the safety.
There's a bee in the room. He's having a hard time flying.
It's called an elephant in the room, Scott. That's the wrong idiom.
It's a bee. There's like too many fans. There's like, yeah, I can't contain control. It's pretty funny. Anyways, so listens to all of that and says, I suppose it's I that has to tell him then.
Well, Captain gets those shitty jobs.
He doesn't chuckle. He just nods. I will open the door, the one that they had left out of. And what was the guy's name again? His first name?
Salish Serrano.
I call him back in.
He will just sort of step towards the door, or like through the door frame, and just kind of not say anything.
We're accepting your offer, but it's going to be at the cost of one of our crew members. We're not going to be sacrificed in the Magpie to small explosions and the like. Tomas will not be joining us.
Very well. If you're ever in need of crew, this ship has inside its data logs a covert Picop base in the polar ice caps of Pike itself. If you ever are in need of crew, and I hope you're not, visit.
Hold on, that's 1, 2, 3, 6. That's 6 crew members. Is there any? No, I won't even bother with this guy with that. Never mind, it's just stupid. I just nod and say, "How are you getting home?"
There are plenty of ways. I mean, preferably.
I was kidding. We'll bring you back.
He smiles and nods, and actually steps up. And plus, I'm going to need to debrief you on your new crew members.
I imagine that's true, and we're going to have a lot of time for that when we hit the skies. I'm going to take my leave. I turn back to the crew and say, I imagine there's things that you need to gather from your quarters.
Need to get my guitar.
I will lead them out and back to the vessel.
Awesome. So you start going back to the Magpie.
Yeah.
When you do, Thomas is
Don't eat
already
that.
there.
Don't eat that. Bad Scott.
Sorry, it's in my hand, and I like putting things in my...
Rude, dude.
You should have seen the gesture he was just making.
I wasn't looking.
You're
For
going to
good
get
reason.
banned from Twitch.
So what are you? You get back there. Thomas is already doing stuff. Of course.
Yep. Go back in, and when I goes find... So I don't know if, like, say, Rain or something like that. Definitely not the new guy, but I don't know if Rain would come for this chat or not, but...
Yeah, yeah, that definitely not the new guy, excluding you, bitch.
Well, the new guy, who gives a shit about him. So there's would just be a nod. So go. It's one of those things where when we see him, he's probably in the engineering or whatever, starting his work, and when he's in the doorway, just like stand in the doorway, and you can just read it plain on the face, like. There's no not reading something that obvious.
He just looks at you and goes back to working. Like, doesn't say anything.
You know what we'd prefer.
He looks up at you with like another quick look. What's that? Keeps going.
We can store it on an asteroid wherever would be safe, and you can still come.
The ship wouldn't be safe left on an asteroid. Someone would find it, take it, or destroy it. It wouldn't be safe.
You and I both know the likelihood of that happening is 1 in a few trillion.
But one.
Yeah, I know. You know, it's temporary too, right? You think they're going to let us keep that beautiful ship?
This last mission was only supposed to be temporary for Jason, and look where it left us.
Honestly, takes like a half step back. It's like one of those things where it like knocks him back on his heels.
Mm-hmm.
He is at a loss for words. It's one of those, like, at one point in time, he might open his mouth to say something, but then he closes it. And however much time is about to pass, he probably doesn't even realize it.
Ray
So-
puts a hand on his shoulder, just like comforting squeeze, like that, and just sort of looks at Thomas like sort of half sympathetic understanding and half that was uncalled for look.
So Tomas probably takes another minute with his head down working before he looks up and says, or actually he probably wouldn't even look up, he'd just keep working, and he goes, I'm just saying it's the truth. You can't guarantee anything in life. You can't say that what you do is going to be it's not going to be the last thing you do. You never know. And all I do know is that the last thing I want to be doing is taking care of the ship. It's the I want to be here doing this until I'm. How old do humans get in this?
At least
Well,
120.
I want to be doing this until I'm 130 years old.
We get that, Thomas. We just wanted to make clear that there are other routes, different paths to maybe, hopefully, the same end. But, well, sometimes I guess the important thing is the path you take, not the end you reach. If you want to stay with the ship, we figure that's your choice.
I can respect that. I'm just saying, yeah, it might be temporary for you guys, and who knows, maybe after this is all said and done, you'll want to come back on the Magpie. Who knows? It seems as though people that grow off this ship never come back because, well, what's the point?
I'll actually, finally having regained my composure, will chime in and say, you know, for all the plans that we had, Novus was the location. We were going to a beautiful city in Novus that we intended to find ourselves one day. And we did so because they're very close friends and his family there. We wanted to be close to them because while we chose lives that took us far from our friends and far from our family, we always intended to go back. One day I will go back to them. But I imagine not until after we find our way back to you. You're right. We don't always get to have our plans play out the way we expect them to. But it doesn't mean we can't live every day of our lives trying to make them happen. The Magpie is a beautiful place. It's a place that we all see as our home. It's where we became family, and I think it's where we'll be seeing each other again.
He looks up this time with he's not crying, but he does have a bit of emotion on his face with maybe some slight watery eyes, and he's just like, yeah. Takes a deep breath. I suppose that's the best course of action then.
I'm not going to leave this station until I find a crew good enough to get you off this rock until I get you up in the skies and sailing away from here. They're going to be dumb. They're going to have to be. But we'll get you a crew.
He nods with a thankful look. He goes, well, if they're half as good as our crew, I'm sure they'll be great. And he gets back to working, kind of like avoiding eye contact. And you could see like this whole time there was like a picture on one of the screens of the link with all of our pictures and like the grayed out picture, not like just all of them up. And he just like looks up at it. He shakes his head. And he puts his head back down to work. Well, I suppose if you're going to be captaining a new ship, you have a lot to do.
No rest for the wicked, they say.
He nods.
And he'll go over and, because I know he's working, but he's not necessarily crouched over. He'll go over and it's one of those, he goes to shake his hands, but then after like a second, he'll actually pull him in for like a one-arm hug. And we'll turn and gather his things and leave the ship. Luckily, all of it's already organized. It was just recently. So easy.
When
Thomas saw this coming. He's like, I've set it out just how you'd want it.
When Davis leaves, Rain lingers in the room with Thomas for a few moments, and then just goes up to him and spreads her arms wide for a hug.
He'd definitely give it to her, like a very like engulfing hug.
Yeah, when there's a big hug, she just sort of whispers to him, "For what it's worth, I'm sorry, and I hope we'll be able to fly together again."
He says, "It's not your fault. I understand. I hope so too, Rain."
Releases, nods, and then sort of and then leaves again, and again with a lingering glance before she leaves.
All right, and with that, why don't we take?
Hold on. What about Neil?
Oh,
He has to grab his duffel bag and walk out.
He doesn't actually have a duffel bag.
All his things are just
His
in his
backpack?
pockets.
His satchel?
He literally has a backpack that was already on his back.
He had a spare pair of shoes that he took off but didn't put back in the bag when he went to a toothbrush? A cream? Oh man.
I'll give you a cream.
You don't
all right.
belong on the Magpie, motherfucker. Get out.
Yeah, he is.
He got that vibe. He's leaving.
And with that, why don't we take our last break and come back for our last hour of today's stream?
Bye. See you next week.
Ah!